5 surefire ways to create remarkable graphics.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
So today we're talking with my friend Tony Vincent from Learning in Hand. I will also link in the show notes to episode number 247, iPad Magic 6 Ideas Every Teacher Needs to Know. But today we're going to talk about 5 ways to have classy graphics. Now, Tony, you are kind of a king of graphics. You are really good at them. I'm dying to know your first way.
Making graphics is something that I enjoy, and it turns out that teachers are called upon to make their own things all the time. So I'm thinking we should make them look kind of nice.
Yeah.
Kind of like how, you want your work to have good grammar because you want your message to come across. And good design is kind of like that, because bad design can be a poor reflection on you and your work. So my first tip is arrangement. And this is something we don't give a lot of thought to, maybe necessarily, but it's one of the most important things. Let's say you're making a graphic organizer for a book battle bracket, and it's going to go out to the whole school, so you want it to look professional. So the first thing you might want to do is make one of the boxes that people will write in, and then to keep a consistent size, you duplicate it. And then you make maybe one side of the bracket, you group that and duplicate that, because arrangement is about location, and it's also about the sizes of the objects on your canvas. And no matter if you're using Google Drawings, Google Slides, Keynote, PowerPoint, there are alignment guides right there on the screen. But one super tool here under arrangement is distribution, to distribute your objects. So whether they're groups or they're individual objects. So let's say we have this bracket and we have 10 horizontal boxes, and you've duplicated them, but they're just not lining up quite right. You select them all. And then depending on the software you're using, it's under probably the Arrange menu. Then you choose Distribute Vertically, and it will automatically even out and space all those boxes up so that they have that great alignment. And then you can actually go into aligning them so that the middles are all perfectly right where they need to be as well. And it'll look great.
Yeah, and why fight with it? Just let the computer do what it does best, and it does do alignment very, very well. That's great advice. And alignment, I would say that alignment and consistency is part of arrangement. That's fantastic. Okay, what's our second?
Color. My style lately is to use kind of bold colors. They grab attention, and the colors can convey meaning. So one place where I get shades of colors, because there's maybe some good default ones in, say you're using Google Slides, but if you'd like to get even more colors that look nice and modern, a website that I have bookmarked right in my bookmarks bar because I use it pretty much every day is materialui.co. And materialui.co just gives you this huge palette of colors, and it's divided, by color. So you can see shades and tints. You can mix and match pretty easily. But the second you click on one of those, it automatically copies a color code, which is easy to then paste into, again, let's say Google Drawings, and you can have that custom color show up right there then in your design.
Oh, yes. And using a tool like Color Schemer or something to find matching colors, because there is a science to color matching that, a lot of us just don't have time to go into. Okay, what's our third?
Well, the other one kind of goes with color, perhaps, and that's transparency. I like to kind of mess with the transparency of some of my objects, particularly things in the background. One of my favorite design techniques is I have this burst that's in the background, these rays that come out. And so that it fits in with whatever color the background is, I turn the transparency, about maybe 30% or so that it's kind of barely there, but it's a shade of the background color. And just putting that in the back adds some excitement and some action to whatever you're designing.
Oh, how cool is that? Okay, what's our fourth?
Well, My fourth is to learn from examples. Look at others' work. So you're working on this book bracket example, let's say, do a Google image search for book bracket, and you'll see so many examples that you'll be able to say, oh, I like that design way. Ooh, that's a great title. Or I just searched and I saw Book Madness, Tournament of Kids Books, Book Battle, Literary Lunacy. So you'll get title ideas, but also when you do a Google image search, you'll be able to really see how people have laid out their designs and take what you like and adapt that to your own design.
Oh, that's very true. It's okay to look at a design and emulate it. I mean, I try to teach that to my students. Now, there is a fine line, of stealing, but design is different than, copying a paragraph. It's
inspiration.
Yeah.
In fact, keep screenshots of photos of screenshots and photos of design that I love. I'll be walking through an airport and, oh, that's awesome. Or even there are times that the TV at the gym, I'm like, ooh, I really like this commercial and how they have their colors laid out. I will take a picture there and I just keep it all in a file so that when I do need some inspiration, I can go right to that file.
Okay, that's awesome. What's our fifth?
Another one is really to learn from others. So you're looking at these examples, ask others for feedback. Say, hey, I made this. What do you think? Because I might, when I bring in my masterpiece towards somebody else, they always have a way to make it even better, to either simplify it, to make a font bigger there, or maybe the color contrast isn't exactly the best. Getting feedback from others is really important for your designs because after all, they're meant to be consumed, and that feedback could come from your students. It could come from your colleagues, but hearing it and taking that feedback and acting on it is a great way to make your designs better.
Now, I admit I got this idea for this topic from going to your website and seeing an upcoming class that you have for this online. So would you tell us about it?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Classy Graphics, winter 2019 begins February 5th. It's a 6-week online workshop that anybody in the world can join, and it takes place in Google Classroom. That's our home base. And every week for 6 weeks, I record a video and put it up. It leads into an optional assignment. The coolest part about this workshop is that in Google Classroom, people post their designs for the assignment, and then I leave comments on every single assignment that somebody turns in. You know, I like to give encouragement, and then I always like to give some wishes about what could make it even better. And I'm not the only one commenting. Other classmates also comment on each other's. So it really takes my last tip there of learning from others and getting their feedback and takes it to the next level. And this is my 5th cohort that I'll be leading over the last 2 years through Classy Graphics. And I have to say, people tell me every day, I use what I learned from Classy Graphics every day in everything I do. And I'm the same way. Oh, I taught that in the class. Oh, this is a great way to practice this. It's a skill that I think a lot of schools take for granted, teachers take for granted, but because as educators, we are always being designers, taking some time to learn to, step up your game when it comes to graphic design can really get your message across in a better way, and it can look classy while you do it.
Well, and I love your analogy of good grammar and good design are both very similar. You can have amazing words, but if you don't have good grammar, a lot of times people are going to discount it and not read it. And you can have amazing content, but very often it's how it looks. Now, I know that drives people crazy, but it is very true. That's why when I went to college in 1987, I'm dating myself here, my dad and I chose to get a Mac because at the time they were the only one who had font smoothing and all kinds of stuff. And my papers just looked better. So graphic design makes a massive difference in how you appear to be professional and in just the content you create. So these are some great tips. And I'll include in the show notes a link to the 5 ways to have classy graphics workshop that's going to be starting on February 5th. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Hi, teachers. This is Vicki Davis, your host. Every weekend, I send my free newsletter to more than 10,000 educators. It's full of ideas and freebies and all kinds of links and resources that are only in the newsletter. To get your copy, sign up at coolkiteteacher.com/newsletter.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.